I know he's a busy man. Hopefully, he is able to.
Peace.
Hello, Coach Wally.
Yeah, this Jawali Wally. What's
Hi,
up?
this is Ya from the Young Scholars 103 Morning Show.
What's going on?
Thank you for interviewing with us this morning. Um, I just recently heard about your group, the Polymathic Scholars Club, and I was
Hmm.
wanting to ask a few questions of you.
Okay.
Um, what is the concept behind the name Polymathic Scholars Club?
Well, I mean, the concept behind the name of the Potty Mathis Scholars Club, and before I elaborate on that, I just want to say peace and blessings to everybody. This is your life coach, Wally Wally. I got a big event coming up March 15, 2006, in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, um, Minnesota. And also, I have another event coming up April 11, debating against a brother named Texas Black, about how what's the best solution to end generational poverty. And I just want to say blessings. I'm glad everybody was able to tune into it. But the Polymath Scholars Club, uh, what's the purpose behind it is a way to get your creative juices flowing. It's a way to make yourself smarter by stimulating more parts of your brain than you ever have. Because, you got to ask yourself, to liberate your true inner genius is actually the goal and the method of all things right now. So instead of creating a squad and a gang and a nations and groups and all that, create a club. Everybody's equal. It is lines of command depending on how polyathic you are, but you know that's pretty much what it is.
Okay, so what is a polymath?
What is a polymath?
Yes.
Polymath, that's a noun. So a polymath is a person of wide-ranging knowledge or learning. A person that's actually has significant numbers of different subjects and areas, such as a person is known to draw on a complex of like bodily knowledge to solve, specific problems in terms like that.
So, could I consider myself a polymath?
All right, that's a question you have to ask yourself. you know, um, I
Well,
can't judge you
it's
on
not
that,
it's not a common term that you would hear every day.
right?
So,
But you may be surprised, more than ever. People like you are finding easy access to information by liberating a true inner self genius.
hmm.
So you just got to put yourself to the test, and see what it is.
So
You know,
is there a test? Is there a
yeah, the
test
test.
that you can take? Is there something that I can study to say, okay, well, you've done X amount of time studying such and such subject. Now you're considered a polymath, or is it just as how does one become a polymath? How do you
Well,
how do you quantify being a polymath?
well, first you got to understand that a scholar is someone who profound knowledge in one particular subject.
Okay.
So, and like I said, a polymath is a person of wide-ranging knowledge of learning. But then when you say I'm polymathic, now you're saying you're greater learning.
Mm-hmm.
So you're more multitask and learning in several fields of
Ah.
study.
Okay.
So, you might be able to read uh, religion
Uh huh.
and probably can go into philosophy. They kind of got some ties together, but then you can go into the politics and then be able to put them all together and see how it all connected with each other. Can you hear me good?
Yes, yes, you're coming
Okay.
through very clear. Thank you. Let's see. Let's get back to my questions. I kind of veered off. How long have you identified as a polymath?
Um, it's been about a little over 1,000 days,
Okay.
because of my line of studying.
Uh huh.
I've been, coming from Chicago and coming from a great movement of like the Fred Hampton movement with the Black Panthers, and I was uh, following myself personally the Jeff Ford
Mhm.
movement with the L. Rookers and Blackstones, which is, symbolic to the Moorish teaching.
Mm. Mhm.
So then they also have other influence of the Nation of Islam was very heavy there at the
Sure.
time,
Okay.
the Israelites as well. And on top of that, you also had Larry Hoover and David Bostel and Mickey Caldwell
Wow.
and Willie Lloyd and all these other individuals that had a greater influence, but
Wow.
they was always able to take certain, my personal opinion, they took certain information from religious doctrines,
Uh huh.
put it together in their own words, and created street organized crimes. So it was like once you kind of get into the element, you learn about other gangs.
Wow.
Even though you in your gang, you learn about other gangs, how they move, what's their language, what's their identification. So then fast forward to when I started actually picking up books and liking them to read.
Uh
I
huh.
started reading a little more, and then I started veering off from gangster literature to, actual history, and then
Right.
world history, then ancient history and
Mhm.
religious history. So it actually took me to another profound. But I never lost what I learned from the city
Mhm.
prior to the different dimensions of organizations.
Mhm.
It's like a bike. You'll never forget how to ride a bike, no matter
Mhm.
how long you stop riding one.
Right. Right.
So and you got to think, on top of everything, it's like what keeps you balanced on the bike is to keep moving.
Right.
So I would tell anybody to, just keep elevating. Don't get stagnated. Don't get stuck on one thing. Don't think that this
Mhm.
information is the all to be all,
Mhm.
because always something else. And that what keeps me young, because knowledge is infinity. Knowledge is old. I'm young.
Right. That's good. Wow, you answered some of my other questions.
See, that's
uh,
polymathic.
yeah. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Let's see here. What are some of the areas or topics or subject matter that you find most rewarding when you research or study?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good question. I just pretty much just, how can I answer that without sounding too cocky?
Mm.
Because I don't want to come off as that. But basically, the content of the club covers technology, science, space,
Mhm.
philosophy, religion, and the biggest thing that we all can relate to, well, majority of us can relate to, is poverty. And
Mm.
when we living in poverty,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, we all can relate to that. Everybody that I'm familiar with, or most people have family members that are struggling, still struggling below the poverty rate,
Right.
because it's a certain percentage rate for you
Mhm.
to be like okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like you middle class.
Mhm.
Like you middle class, you can miss a couple checks and still be okay. But
Yeah.
when you like barely on the line, it's like you can't miss more than one check. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And
Right.
you easily fall below. So
Mhm.
we try to cover all things, and while we doing that, we try our best to maintain the position that'll prevent the viewers from falling victim to the bias uh, appeals that actually precedes other people's authority. And accomplishing this
Mhm.
actually help people, ponder to their heart intent, and you actually feel more existence through your life. My opinion. At
That
least I do.
Okay, well, that's a great segue into my next question, which is what are your goals for the Polymathic Scholar Club for 2016? We're already in March. You mentioned that you have your motivational presentation happening next Tuesday, and then you have your debate against Brother Texas Black, which is April 11th, which is in Minneapolis. What else can we see from the Polymathic Scholar Club coming in the coming months of 2016?
Well, I'm definitely on the verge of doing some networking. Um, Very soon, I'm gonna be out there in my hometown in Chicago. I'm definitely gonna take it back to the Shy, and I'm gonna have my event there, and that's gonna be sometime in June.
Okay.
And then I'm networking now with a brother in Arizona, and we trying to get some things set up there. Shout out to him. He know who he is. But we networking on that.
Okay.
Then I'm also networking with a sister in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do some other things. But it's all about right now, just going to these areas that I actually have some sort of connections to,
Uh-huh.
and actually try to utilize that to my best advantage, and then hopefully more things transition from there. Still got the book coming out. The book will be coming very soon. Um,
Tell us
and
about the book.
yeah, the book is my personal book. It's nutrition facts. It's actually watching. Pay attention to people ingredients to make sure they are healthy for your diet. It's basically a self-improved coaching book to actually look at people
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that they're worthy or worth being around you, or or even dealing with in business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just on another level, and the motto, is just one learn what one teaches themselves.
Right. Right.
So,
All right. What steps does one take to become a member of the Polymathic Scholars Club?
well, I mean, if any member choose to wanna, elaborate with me and become part of the team, we just ask for a simple completion of 86,400 minutes. And that completion of that 86,400 minutes equals you to 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So at 60 days of this completion, basically it's just asking you to avoid certain foods.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid cigarettes and tobaccos and synthetic drugs and street drugs and hard liquor and prescription drugs and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Then we also ask you to read 1 hour daily
Mm-hmm.
and physical exercise 1 hour daily to release endorphins.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I tried this method and it actually worked good because it actually gave me 7 ways to improve my memory.
Mm.
And actually, that first one, what I was saying about avoid certain foods, actually eating the right foods,
Right. Right.
and that plays a role in your memory. Exercising, stop being multitasking,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to do 15 things at one time. Get a good night's sleep.
Right.
It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Play brain games like puzzles, break down words, read, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Master a new skill each time, and always read daily, because those 4 elements, which is you doing is challenging yourself,
Right.
and it's a skill that you're building on, which is a reward, and you're teaching yourself something new. That's a brain booster for your activities.
Mm.
And this is how you become a part of the Polymathic Scholars Club, because now you're liberating your true inner genius, and you're actually stimulating certain parts in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
That what I was kind of going over earlier.
Sure.
That actually creates your juices, flows, and actually, make you smarter, because it's going to stimulate you in a certain way.
Sure.
But the 86,400 minutes, I know that discouraged people because they like, what is 86,400 minutes?
Right.
but the 86,400 minutes is 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So if you 60 times 24 is 1,440.
Mm-hmm.
And with that 1,440 times 60, which is like a minute, an hour,
Uh-huh.
because 1 hour, that'll equal you 86,400 minutes.
Mm.
And then if you was to add 86,400 minutes plus 86,400 minutes, you'll have 173,800 seconds.
Right.
And that's just the best way to actually know that you're completing these tasks of saying no to these certain foods
Mm-hmm.
and these certain things that we put in our body.
Uh-huh.
So you're giving yourself the cleanse in the 30 days, and the next 30 days you basically keeping yourself stimulating with the reading that you've been doing
Sure.
the past 30 days and the exercising on to what you're doing now.
Right.
And it's just going to open your pores.
Sure. Sounds good. I believe my last question was the 12 Joules model. I know you talked about the Polymathic Scholars Club, but also how the 12 Joules is part of the foundation of PSC. Do you care to elaborate on the 12 Joules?
Yeah, the 12 joules to me is the 12 joules is like the foundation. It's what keeps the submit stabilized. The 12 joules is something that I came across one of my enlighteners.
Mm-hmm.
The brother, I ain't gonna put his biz out there, but when he was dealing with me and giving me the lessons
Mm-hmm.
and giving me the knowledge back in them days, he gave me the 12 joules, and the 12 joules is something that I took close to my heart because it was like the 12 fundamentals of life,
Mm-hmm.
which is my actual student enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, because the knowledge, it's the science of facts, and the science is to know, and then this wisdom is the application based on your ways and actions, and then that understanding, which actually give you a clearly of actually what things are,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the freedom, the ability to choose, the justice is depending on your ways and actions, determine your reward, penalty, and equality is wanting for your brother what you want for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and the food is what we eat, just like I was talking about, the mental, the spiritual, the physical food, the clothing is the proper protection that we got to make sure we use to protect ourselves. Um, the shelter is also what covers a person, cover us,
Mm-hmm.
advise condition for us. The love is the elevation of understanding, the feeling of a personal attach or a deep affection,
Mm-hmm.
and peace is the absence of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to keep it real, and happiness is the
Mm-hmm.
mental and the inner joy and being satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And that is polymathic to me.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to Class 13X. I'm not a 5%er, but when I came and got across those lessons,
Yeah.
that means something to me. And I held that closely to me.
True indeed.
But, I still stand on my, on what I know and
Mm-hmm.
what I believe, and that's definitely needed. People need to know that, when you have the 12 fundamentals of life,
Mm-hmm.
then, you can actually be comfortable in your life.
Sure.
And on top of that, when you study in Revelations 21:19, when you study about the 12 jewels
Mm-hmm.
that they claim that's going to be in heaven,
Mm-hmm.
or they stated that's going to be in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Those same jewels, the same jewels that you can have to be comfortable in this life, just
Mm.
broke down in words. So,
Very good. Thank you for your time, Coach Jawali
that's what's
Wali.
up.
I know you're a busy man and have tons of people vying for your attention. Thank you again for dropping your jewels of knowledge this morning.
Oh,
Um, Again, I want to reiterate that you have an event next Tuesday, March
yeah, March
15th,
March 15,
2016.
2016. Come out there, check it out. It's an open enrollment. It's a club, baby. You know, it's a club, and when you're dealing with a club, it is certain statutes and liberties and stuff like that.
Okay.
But this is a better forum for us people to be able to come together. We don't sit here and bash anybody. Ain't no such thing as a dumb idea. And for the record, them the people that I need to come and check me out. Because I used to be one of them individuals that caused mischiefs in my community, in Chicago, and now I'm able to actually give back, and not only just to my kids, I'm giving back to everybody else, and kids, women, men, everybody's definitely invited. So I
Okay.
definitely see y'all in the house.
All right.
March 15, 2016.
All
In
right.
Chicago, I'll be out there in June,
All right.
so we're
Okay.
gonna rock it like that.
Okay. All right. So, thank you, Coach, and we will have information about your events posted on the Young Scholars Facebook fan page. Follow us at Young Scholars 103. 103. Thank you.